It's been a week of turmoil on college campuses across the country, including the University of Michigan. Protests, hate crimes, and claims of bias on campus. Welcome to the fall semester. It's all ahead next.
Racist, sexist, anti-gay, Donald Trump, go away. Racist, sexist, anti-gay.
It's been a long week of shouting, slogans, demonstrations. Welcome back to RIP. With us right now, Grant Strobel, National Chairman of the Young Americans for Freedom and the founder of the Young Americans for Freedom on the campus of the University of Michigan. And Enrique Salame, President, U of M College Republicans. They're both big-time Trump supporters, but their fellow students don't like him at all. Jason Towers, President of Students for Clean Energy, Chair of the U of M Student Government Sustainability Commission. Jess Hicks is a recent U of M grad. Both Jason and Jess took to the streets in protest of the election. And to help us referee the exchange is a man who graduated from Kalamazoo College with a degree in theater, Charlie Langton. All right. Grant, Donald Trump won a shocking, amazing victory. You won. What are you complaining about?
Well, look, it's unfortunate that when Hillary Clinton said, when they go low, we go high, well, they're going low again. And I think I've actually received personal attacks. I've had people chanting F Grant Strobel outside of my house. And that's created my own security concerns. So really this is happening all across campuses. Even the law school, to try and dampen the anger, they had bubbles, Play-Doh, coloring books. It's like, come on, it's an election. Some people win, some people lose, and let's move on. Enrique,
people look at you, and I suppose there's a stereotype we have of the Trump supporter. You don't fit that stereotype.
Absolutely not. In fact, I'm actually a first-generation American. I got my citizenship 4 years ago, so I'm glad that I believe that I put it in the right vote.
And why did you vote for Trump? What was it about what he was saying, despite his attacks on Mexican minorities and Muslims? What was it about Donald Trump that attracted you?
Now, obviously, I don't agree with all of the rhetoric that he makes and the rhetoric that he said throughout the campaign. But at the end of the day, it's not just one person that's coming into office. It's an entire administration of Republicans who share the same conservative values and Christian ideals that I really hope to see represented in the Supreme Court and in all levels of government.
Meanwhile, I don't know if you were in the demonstrations. I don't know if you were out in the streets, but I do know you did not like Donald Trump, for sure.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I'm not supportive of Donald Trump, specifically, I'm heavily involved with the Environmental Protection Agency as an intern and in sustainability clubs such as Students for Clean Energy and CSG Sustainability Commission.
And Donald Trump says that global warming is a hoax.
He says it's a hoax created by the Chinese. He specifically said he wishes to dismantle the EPA, and so far he's nominated a climate change denier to lead his transition team.
You are in the streets, though, protesting.
I was.
But now I ask people who were there protesting the very first question that I think is the most important question. Did you vote?
I did vote. And I voted for Hillary. And she holds a lot of my values. And I believe that the president-elect, Donald Trump, has incited a very poor mindset across America. I don't know if he personally holds that mindset, but I believe what he has started across America, not necessarily started because it's been going on for a very long time, but what he's really incited and in American citizens is kind of terrifying, because there are citizens and individuals that are being harmed because of this.
Well, Grant, you talked about the people outside your window making threats, but on the campus of U of M, we've had reports of a woman being pushed down a hill. We have reports of another woman being scratched in the face downtown Ann Arbor. We have other reports of a woman being forced to remove her religious headscarf after being threatened that she would be burned. So, I mean, there are all kinds of attacks on both sides.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible, and we see it happening on both sides. And actually, even at the rally the other day, the protest, they even segregated the protest and gave white people different roles than black people. And really, you're seeing it in supporters on both sides of the aisle, and it really needs to stop. If we're going to come together, somebody's got to start doing it. You know, it's almost like when your mom told you when you were a kid, if you know, turn the other cheek.
Charlie,
but here's the thing. Well, listen, Republicans were protesting when Obama was in office. The protests are not going to stop, especially at U of M. Number one, they've got to do it legally. Some of the protests that I've seen, they were blocking the streets. They were making threats. That's wrong. That's against the law, and they will have to pay the consequences.
But Charlie, have you seen as many protesters this time around as you saw when Obama was elected? No, I don't think so.
No, I didn't. But they can protest. Let them protest. Let them get the steam out there. But at the end of the day, Trump won the election. A lot of people are not happy about it, but they've got to go, and they've got to accept the fact that he's the president. What I would do, I would try to work with Donald Trump. Hey, he's taking an application around to be in his cabinet. Go join the administration. Do something positive. But if you're just going to protest for the sake of protesting, again, credibility is everything. It's not going to mean anything. But do it legally. Got to do that.
You're shaking your head.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that at all, because if a Muslim or if an African American or someone who is marginalized wants to be a part of Trump's cabinet or be in his office or work with him, I think that they would be highly discriminated against because of the mindset that he holds and other people in his office.
Well, certainly when you look at the people who are being evaluated now for positions in Trump's cabinet, we don't see any Muslims. We don't see any African Americans. We see a long list of Republicans, some of whom actually opposed him, who are now being evaluated for possible positions as Secretary of State, NSA. But we see the same people that he said he was going to get rid of.
I think Mitt Romney's going to be his job.
Mitt Romney's beating him
as well. Well, that's Trump's problem, though. Trump is going to have to. Now, that's Trump's problem. He's going to have to unite the country, and that's his #1 goal.
Do you ever see yourself supporting him? Do you ever see yourself possibly reaching a point where, okay, I can agree with some of his policies, but not others?
So I'm going to go at a two-pronged facet. So, for example, I'm a very strong Christian, and I know a lot of Republicans are conservative Christians, and I have to say, there is nothing that Trump has said that has made me feel any good about my faith. It's not religious, it's not Christian, and I do not agree with supporting him if you're using it for Christian beliefs. So on the other side, in terms of me, what am I doing and what am I urging people to do? So like I said, in groups I'm involved, like I said, with Students Clearing, we are planning and we're writing letters to our representatives discussing our issues. So like for my club specifically, we care a lot about climate change, and that's our biggest issues. So one of the things I'm urging other groups to do that are feeling scared, feeling hurt, feeling like they're marginalized, feeling like their voices aren't heard, is to get active politically, whether it's voting, whether it's canvassing, whether it's writing letters, going to the streets, to actually educate people and actually work together to make a change.
Do you see yourself, though, ever working with Enrique or Grant?
I personally am always up for dialogue, and one of the biggest things is you have to discuss. I mean, we have different opinions. I mean, America wasn't founded on people with all the same opinions. I mean, even in the Continental Congress, I mean, you didn't have Thomas Jefferson with the same opinion as Alexander Hamilton. They butted heads a lot. But you know what happened? We were able to eventually make a constitution. We were able to ease everything out. I think this time will be one of the most trying times in America because it's so divided right now. It's divisive. And after these 4 years, we're either going to come close together or we're just going to eat each other apart and further divide the country.
It's been a long time since I was in college, but I do remember that it was important for me to find a job. Is that what you think? What is the most important thing for you, for your generation right now?
I mean, a job is important, and that's why I want to work for the Environmental Protection Agency, and they're planning on gutting that and a lot of environmental jobs. And I'm big on climate policy, and that's looking like it's not even going to be something here.
Enrique.
I would say the biggest thing for me, it differs based off of the people that you ask. But for me, I really think it's getting your voice heard. And that's something that we've been talking about here. He mentioned getting your voice heard. Both of you guys mentioned marginalized people.
Do you
and
feel
right
there's
now,
a liberal bias on the campus?
Absolutely. That's what I was getting to. In fact, the University of Michigan, they sponsored a vigil in response to Hillary's loss. Aside from that, there were professors who canceled their classes, who pushed back exams. One professor even made the comment relating Hillary Clinton's loss to as tragic of an incident as 9/11. There are people, it's an incredibly one-sided conversation on campus right now. And we really need to come together and have this open dialogue that we're talking about right now, but we're not seeing the action for that open dialogue because the university is incentivizing and energizing people to continue affirming their own beliefs as opposed to hearing other people.
A lot of people think that Trump's win and Hillary's loss was a big deal. They're really upset.
No, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I completely agree, and I know that and I respect those different opinions. But the thing is, right now, the conservative opinions aren't being heard by a lot of people on campus. And we need to work together and come together to make sure we have that kind of political discourse, but a regulated and academic one. It's not going into the streets and blocking off traffic the way we have been.
But you all seem to be saying the same things. You all want the same things. You just have different approaches how to get there. Young people, please find a way to build a coalition that speaks more about who you are as young people and less about who you are as Democrats or Republicans. Please try. If anyone saves this country, it's going to be you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, you've heard from the panel. Up next is your turn as Charlie takes the show on the road. Donald Trump won the Electoral College, but Hillary won the popular vote by more than 1 million.
Maybe then it is time to get rid of this thing called the Electoral College. That was the question I took to the streets of Detroit. Here's what they said. The Electoral College. What do you think? What is it?
I really don't know too much about it.
Electoral College for like college students, that people that vote.
Can you tell me?
They are the ones that actually pick the president.
Really?
In 2000, correct, George W. Bush, Al Gore. Al Gore won the popular vote. George W. Bush became our president because of electoral votes.
Hillary Clinton didn't win by popularity. She won because the Electoral College.
So you telling me my vote don't count?
Trump is our president because of electoral votes. It's not consistent. It's not accurate to what the people want.
That's not fair. Is that even legal?
What is the purpose of us voting if they're still going to go by something else from the Electoral College?
Is it time to get rid of the Electoral College?
I think so.
I really don't know, man. Just vote. You know, I did my part, though, you know.
Candidates wouldn't campaign there. They'd go to California, New York, Texas, big states.
Right, because they got small delegate points, right? Something like that. Okay, I can understand.
When you're looking at population, I guess the smaller states wouldn't have a vote in that aspect, but it's the people together that make the vote.
Maybe he'll do right. We don't know. Maybe he'll treat us right. We don't know. We have to give him a chance.
Electoral College, should it go or stay?
It should go, just with the sense that America's founded as a democracy, and I know that people say it skews it towards, if we don't have the Electoral College, or skew it towards the population centers or whatnot. But you could win the Electoral College with only 30% of the popular vote. Like, let that sink in. You could get less than 1/3. If we're really a true democracy, we should have it where every person's voice is heard and is counted.
Enrique.
The thing, though, with that is I do acknowledge that the Electoral College is flawed, but at the same time, the popular vote is also flawed. It's skewed towards those urban coastal areas, and it's not accurately going to represent some of the issues that are being held dear by a lot of the Rust Belt states and Midwestern states. You're just completely bypassing that in a popular vote.
Grant?
Keep it. The founders, the framers, put it in the Constitution for a reason, and that is to make sure that we don't have the tyranny of the majority and have factions take over our country. And I think it's important to keep it in order to balance all the interests within our nation.
I think we should get rid of it because it is an old system, and I don't think it has a place in our country anymore, seeing that the majority of the population voted one way and the Electoral College will vote for the other way.
Oh, you're asking me. I defer to these students. They're smart. That's
I think we've got the next president in the cabinet right here. We thank you for your comments, and we thank you for watching this edition of Let It Rip.
The Let It Rip discussion continues online. Sound off on Facebook, Twitter, or fox2detroit.com.